morning. It is Sunday, June 30th, 2024. I am sitting in an airport lounge in Harare, Botswana. Botswana, not Botswana. Botswana. Harare, Botswana. Right now, we are probably going to be boarding soon for the about 1 hour and 30-minute flight up to Harare in Zimbabwe, where I'll be spending just the next 4 days. I'm not going to be spending a lot of time in Harare, but that is more or less going to be the last stop on this entire African trip. I'm trying to remember what I was thinking when I planned the trip to Harare and only gave myself like 4 or 5 days, but I have to be back in Cape Town on the 6th, I think. So I'm actually going back on the 5th because I fly to Sao Paulo, Brazil on the 6th. So anyway, I'll leave Harare on the 5th, arrive in Cape Town, spend one night in Cape Town, and then cross the Atlantic on the southern side, which I've never done before, and then go to Brazil. Heading to Zimbabwe. We are about a half hour from landing in Harare. Relatively uneventful flight. This plane actually has ashtrays, so it tells you a little bit of how old it is. So there it is. There's the ashtray here. It's always a little unsettling to get on a plane that has ashtrays. One little factoid about being on a plane: when you're up in the air and you generally have no signal. One thing that's really interesting, though, is that your GPS still works. You can see, so we're in Zimbabwe, obviously, north of Bulawayo, and maybe, 20-30 minutes from Harare, but the GPS, it's updating. And this works. It's worked. I realized this a few years ago when I started traveling, and it works all over the world. So you might not be able to get a cell signal, but the GPS, sometimes it takes a little while, but the GPS will tell you where you're at. Everything seems to be USD here, which is convenient. Okay, but might end up being more expensive. I don't know. But seems South Africa. Oh my God. I just had a terrifying experience here in Harare. It is Monday, July 1st, 2024. So it is my second day, first full day here in Harare in Zimbabwe. And I decided I was going to go on a walk, right? Like I normally do. If you watch this channel, like I do 100 times. Well, I learned a lesson today. I learned a lesson that probably could have been a lot worse. I'm still shaking, and I'm scared to even talk about it while I'm still in the country. But I was recording video, and like I normally do, and I was walking by the State House,
Now, I kind of noticed that there were guards there, but there were no signs, right? There's usually signs that say no photography, no video, no things like that. And then a couple of soldiers, they call me over. And they're like, at first they're like really angry and aggressive, like, what are you doing? Why are you recording? Why are you recording? What did you record? How much did you record? What did you record? Going on and on and on. And I'm like, oh my God, guy, like, I'm shitting my pants. Look at me. Do you think I belong in a Zimbabwean prison? Seriously, I don't even want to like talk about it right now in public. I don't even want to use my camera in public. I mean, I'm in a different part of town now. I ended up taking a taxi. Huh? No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. I'm talking to myself. So the guards, they call me over and they're very aggressive and they're asking like, why are you recording? What are you recording? Blah, 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 blah. And then they're super aggressive, super scary. They both have machine guns. Luckily, they had trigger safety discipline because they kept their fingers off the trigger at all times. But so they're talking to me and they're telling me there's this little like guard post that they tell me, they're like, go sit in the guard post, go sit down. No, and then I sit on a chair because it has chairs and they tell me to sit on the floor, so I sit on the floor. And then they're like, what were you doing? And I'm like explaining like, well, I just do YouTube. I was just walking around. I just wanted to go on a walk and film some of the city. I didn't realize that this was a sensitive area. And they're like, what? But I don't understand. Where do you come from? Where do you come from? And so I tell them, like I'm from America. I came from Botswana yesterday. I've been traveling through Africa. What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? Like, they're just asking me the same thing over and over and over. So finally, after 10, 15 minutes, they're like, they're sitting me down and they've gone on their walkie-talkie and they're like, somebody's coming, somebody's going to come, they're going to take your information, they're going to talk to you and ask you some questions. And I'm like, okay. And then my first time ever having to bribe somebody, they tell me, they're like, if you would like to give us a gift, we can make this much easier if you just would like to give us a gift. And I'm like, okay, much easier, just give us a gift, much easier. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the gift? I happen to have $50 in my pocket, thank God. So I left them 40, and then they're like, okay, here's the story. You were on the phone, we called you over, there was a misunderstanding, we thought you were taking pictures, and there was a misunderstanding, that's it. I'm like, okay, all right. So now I'm having to lie to, I'm terrified just like talking about this. I'm thinking about leaving the country tomorrow and going to South Africa and just spending the rest of the week in Cape Town. So they're basically, they're like, yeah, just, if you want to give us a gift, if you would like to do that, that's the story. Just keep the story and never mention this gift. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, no. So these other guys come, these mean-looking guys, these like slightly older and obviously more senior soldiers come, and they're like, what were you doing? What happened? And I'm like, I was on the phone. They thought I was taking pictures. Okay. Where were you coming from? What were you doing? I was like, I was just going on a walk. I just got to town yesterday. I was exploring. The idea of going on a walk seems foreign. I don't know, but they seem to think I was lying, even though I literally was just going on a walk. So they're like, what are you doing? The new soldiers, the senior soldiers, what are you doing right there? And I'm like, the first soldiers, the younger soldiers, they're still there also. And I'm asking, I'm like, am I in trouble? And they're like, no, don't worry. And I'm just being frank with them. I'm like, I'm terrified. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm terrified. They're like, no, it's okay. So then they finally take me over to, we start walking along this road alongside, and they're asking me questions like, where are you from? Where are you staying? How long are you here? Are you by yourself? Things like that. Oh God. And then, Jesus Christ. And then we go in and meet this man and this woman that are there. And then they take my ID. Luckily, thank God, I had my ID with me, not my passport. So in the U.S., you can get these passport cards that are technically only valid for like land travel, and between Canada and Mexico, they're only valid for like land and cruises and things like that. But I carried it around with me anyway. Thank God I did. So they took that information. They asked me some questions, and I'm like asking, like, am I in trouble? Am I like in trouble? Like, really? Thank God. And then, so they just took my information, and they held me for about a half hour. And then, the one guy, one of the guys, who's an older guy, it was like every time I saw somebody new, it was like a progressively older person who was probably more senior. I mean, makes sense. And so then he was like, just so you know, no phones, no cameras, be very careful in this area about using your phone, and just don't even take pictures, don't even take video, don't do any of that in this area. And I'm like, yes, sir, you got it. You absolutely got it. And then they let me go. Oh my God. It's a terrifying experience. Absolutely terrifying. Because I'm sitting here and so then I caught a cab here to have, so I just more or less emotionally unloaded on the cab driver. And was like, oh my God, I got stopped by these guys. And I was like, I told him, I thought I was going to go to a jail in Zimbabwe. And he's like, no, those guys won't send you to jail. They'll just beat you. Okay. But luckily, I managed to get out of there. And the only thing that I lost was $40. But if you ask me, that was probably $40 well spent. And this is a $40 lesson, so lesson learned. Double check of where you're recording before you start recording in foreign countries. Unbelievable.
Well, I'm here at the Avondale Market where I got lunch, tried to get some cash out, but I'm getting your financial institution is unavailable error message. Luckily, they take USD here, and I happen to have some more USD cash on me in case I need it. I was hoping to get smaller bills because I only have hundreds, because I'm gangster like that. But after the experience I just had, I think I'm going to go back to Cape Town. I'm going to get a couple things from the grocery store, but then I'm just going to go back to Cape Town either later tonight or tomorrow. I have a ticket already. I'm going to change it. Yeah. And then I'll just stay in Cape Town until my flight to Brazil on Saturday. So after somewhat of a traumatic experience this morning, as I talked about, of almost getting arrested in Zimbabwe, the Airbnb owner, Catherine, was... I explained the situation to her and told her, I just kind of want to leave Zimbabwe. And so I changed my flight to leave on Wednesday. And then she offered to actually pick me up and bring me out to this dog farm, and so that I could see a nicer side, a better side of Harare. And I will say that this is pretty nice. This is very peaceful and very pretty. From what I understand, this is a big dog park. Lots of little obstacles for the dogs to run on. And I see a couple of dogs over there. And then there's her dog Benji. I don't know where he went. Oh, there he is. He's right there. She also mentioned, and this was something the guards mentioned too, that there was another YouTuber. I mean, travel YouTubers are a dime a dozen these days, but there was another YouTuber who was recording at the same exact place, and he was kind of like not mocking the guys, but he, like, I guess was going to buy them beer or something like that. He was asking them how much money they made, and this was something that the guards mentioned to me when they were like interrogating me, like, we had another YouTuber coming and asking how much we make and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't doing any of that. And then But he stayed at the same Airbnb where I'm at, and the Airbnb woman, the Catherine, she almost got in trouble for his actions. So, small world in a way. Oh. He's just lounging down in there. Oh. Oh, hi dog. This is a beautiful little piece of land. This is a gorgeous piece of land, actually. You want to go get it?
And I'm not
Benji.
prepared to spend a cent for that one.
Did you lose it? Oh, there he is. He found it.
Clever boy!
So there is a flyball practice tonight, which is what we're here for, where the dogs run through this. It's like a little obstacle course. It's not even an obstacle, it's just a bunch of jumps. Did I act too hastily? Did I act too hastily in changing my ticket to go back to Cape Town on Wednesday? I probably did, but it's all right. It's all right. I think maybe I'll give Zimbabwe another chance in the future. Right now, I don't think Zimbabwe and I were meant to have a love relationship. This is nice. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem is I decided to go to the city. They got, what is this? Cornhole? Forgot the name of it. I'm not very good. Wait, I got this. Oh, look at that. I'm determined to get a hole-in-one in cornhole. Okay, ready? Oh my God, so close. All right, this is the last one right here. We got this. You ready? This has not been my day. So what is this called? Fizzball? Flyball? Flizzball? I think they're supposed to go like in order. How did I end up at a dog park in Zimbabwe? Okay. Well, Harare's been tough. It has been tough. Today, we're going to try and find an ATM and do a little walking away from Army. And if I see any signs of police, I'm putting the camera away. I'm not taking any chances. And hope for the best. This requires me to go right by the police headquarters, so I'll see you once I pass that. I'm so nervous about recording. Well, I'm at the place where I'm supposed to get tattooed. I was able to find an ATM. I'm extremely cautious about where I'm recording. Like, I'm not even comfortable recording right here, which is just, I believe, a residential building, but it's got walls and barbed wire. I don't know. I'm going to cross the street because I'm terrified. Absolutely terrified. I think if I see soldiers, I just put the camera away immediately. I'm early. I texted the tattoo guy, so, but it hasn't gone through yet. We're supposed to meet at 11, and it's about 11:45. There's a spa down here, which I'm going to go to, but I got to be very careful. Having found the ATM, getting a little cash, walking around the city a little more, it made me feel a little more comfortable about being here in general. It's definitely interesting. It reminds me a lot of La Paz, Bolivia, which is weird because I'm perfectly comfortable in La Paz, but then again, I've been to La Paz many times, and I'm sure if I had been to Harare as many times as I've been to La Paz, I would feel perfectly comfortable here. Right now I'm at a Chinese restaurant, gonna get some cashew chicken for lunch. And then I've been in touch with the tattoo guy. And yeah, we're still on. All looks good. There we go. Good old-fashioned Chinese food in Zimbabwe. I mean, that's what Zimbabwe is known for, right? Let's see how it goes. It has lots of cashews, which I like. Definitely like that. There's lots of peanuts and cashews. It's good. All right. The instructions say Great Wall by the corner of 5th and Josiah. Josiah Chinamano. Entrance is along 5th. Black sliding gate. Okay. I see the Great Wall. And then a black sliding gate. And then once we get inside, it is the last entrance to the right, number 18. All right, so this is the black sliding, or this is the gray gate at least. We have found the Great Wall, and now we're looking for the black sliding gate. Simple instructions are very difficult for me for some reason. It's because I don't pay attention. The Chinese food I got the food was okay, but the Pepsi Black tasted gross. Like it was flat, and it didn't taste like Pepsi Black. I don't know what it was. I took like 2 sips of it, and I didn't even drink anymore. How do I get in? Do I just open it? Looks like it. Okay. When you're outside, it's the last entrance to the right, flat 18. Here's the last entrance to the right. So this is not somebody's shop. This is somebody's house, I believe. So do you have any tattoos?
Just one.
Just you're a tattoo artist and you have one tattoo?
Just a small one.
How did you get into tattooing?
I'm a visual artist, so I was just exploring different forms of art.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started tattooing, and people started referring each other. That's how I started.
Okay. How many needles is that? Is that 3? 1? Oh, that's very fine. Okay. If it's more needles, it doesn't hurt as much. So where's your what is your tattoo of?
It's a writing in Vici.
Okay. Did you do it yourself?
Yes, I did. It was my first tattoo ever.
So I was reading a little about the bird after you mentioned it. It's like the national bird. It's on the money and the coat of arms, and
yeah. It's called a Wungwe bed or Zimbabwe bed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a type of an eagle.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a sculpture that was made by the I'm forgetting the tribe that is from Great Zimbabwe. They used to stay by the Great Zimbabwe ruins.
Okay.
Well, now they are ruins, but back then it was their. I think it was the king's palace or something.
So what is the name of the bird you said again? What was it?
Zimbabwe bed. Wungwe.
Umbwe?
Wungwe.
What is your first language?
Shona.
Shona? Yeah, it's pretty popular here. A lot of people speak Shona here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Shona and Ndebele.
Mm-hmm.
The main native languages.
So do you have like a niche or like a specialty, a type of tattoos that you like that you do?
Not really. I like line work tattoos.
Okay. So I've been telling everybody this story. I got to tell you this story. Mm-hmm. So yesterday I do YouTube. I was doing this, and mind you, obviously I'm not from here, so I don't know like rules and laws or anything.
Uh-huh.
So I'm walking by the State House, and I'm recording, and I learned the hard way that is a big no-no. Like that is a big, you don't do that.
Yeah.
And the soldiers, they called me over, and they're like, come here. And then they start yelling at me, asking me like, what are you doing? Why are you recording? What are you videotaping? What are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God. And they held me for like an hour.
Really?
Yeah, and like, I thought I was going to go to jail, and I'm like, everything's like running through my mind. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to send me to jail. I'm going to be in jail in Zimbabwe, and like, I don't know what's happening. And then luckily, after a little while, they're like, we can make this easier for you if you give us a gift. So it's yeah, and luckily I had some cash on me, and not a lot, but enough. And so I was like, okay. So I gave them some money, and then gave them my information, and they eventually let me go. But it was a terrifying experience because they're like, oh, you could be in big trouble. You might be in big trouble. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. So how much did you give?
20 each.
Oh.
So, and people have told me that that's about fair, that's not too much, but fair. Could you help me with this? Have you used these before? Excellent. I haven't, so maybe you know how. I mean, I've had people use them on me, but I've never put one on myself. But I find that they're perfect for, like, just leave them on for a day or two, and then after that, you're pretty good to go. Cool. Thank you, man. Thank you, Lenore. I'm not walking near the State House, no. Stayed away. Thank you. All right. Well, we got tattooed. That was fun. Then we're going to walk down to the grocery store, get a couple things, and go home for a few hours and just relax. We used one needle in the gun, and whew. So if you know anything about tattooing, the actual, they used to call it a gun. I don't know what they call it these days. The actual machine, it has multiple needles. Sometimes it can have one needle, it can have 3, 6 needles. They might even have more. But the more needles, the less pain. With one needle, it's so sharp and intense, it hurts. With 6 needles, it's kind of like a dull pain. It's not as bad. Still hurts, but it's not as bad. So anyway, we're gonna go down to the grocery store, go home, chill. It's a little difficult to objectively look at a situation when the first 24 hours that you were in the country involved you getting, I don't know, I don't want to say harassed by the local military, but you know, when you've spent that much time with such a short amount of time in a place, and then the local authorities give you that hard of a time, it's difficult not to quickly judge and be like, I want to get the heck out of here, which is what I did. But now that I'm here and spent a day in Harare, where it was actually a good day, where I walked around and found an ATM, and you didn't see a lot of that because I'm terrified of recording here, but you know, it makes you think that I judge too quickly, maybe. And then in my mind I'm thinking, well, I changed my flight from Friday to Wednesday. Can I change it back to Friday? Which I could, because I splurged and I bought the ultra flexible ticket. But I don't think the Airbnb that I've already booked in Cape Town is quite as ultra flexible. So even though I probably would have liked to spend a couple more days here in Harare, I'm going to go back to Cape Town tomorrow with the thought that at some point I'll return to Zimbabwe. I'll return maybe even to Harare. I'll definitely go to the Victoria Falls, which I'm kind of sad I didn't get to go to on this trip, but whatever. Next trip will be different. Next trip will be Namibia, Victoria Falls, maybe Tanzania, maybe Mozambique, who knows. It's Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024, and this is my last few hours in Harare. It is a chilly morning here. About, what time is it? It's about 8:30 a.m. I am leaving my Airbnb
around noon to fly back to Cape Town. And figured I would just go on a little walk this morning to try and see a little bit more of Harare and give it one last chance. We're gonna go through this park though, and we're gonna head towards downtown and see if maybe we can find somewhere to get some breakfast. I think I judged Harare a little too hastily. I was just really freaked out by the incident with the military police. Convinced I was going to go to a Zimbabwean jail. Convinced that, you know, that who knows what would happen. You know, me in a Zimbabwean jail. I don't know. I would just cry constantly. So this is what is the name of this park? I don't think I ever learned the name of this park here to my left. This is some park. Let's see if I can find it. No, Google doesn't say. Greenwood Park? I think that's what this is Greenwood Park here on my left. Here in Harare, Zimbabwe. There go the police, headed to an emergency. Uh-oh, an American's taking video in the streets of Harare. Go, 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 go. That's one thing that I feel that I was conscious of, but for some reason, I maybe wasn't as conscious as I thought I should have been, and that is being aware of filming video in other countries. Like, you not only have to worry about the local laws, but you also got to consider local customs as well. Like, just because it might be legal to film on the streets when you're walking around doesn't mean that it's acceptable. Especially when it comes to women and children, a lot of societies are going to be quick to react if they think that you're trying to, like, take a picture of a woman or a child or something like that. It's not good. Crossing streets here are a bit terrifying because you have to pay attention to the sides of the road opposite of what I'm used to paying attention to. And I f***ed myself. All right, stuck in the road. It's all right. Seems to be a lot of traffic right now with morning rush hour, I'm guessing. I've actually decided that not only am I returning to Cape Town earlier than originally anticipated, I'm actually going to stay in this same exact Airbnb I stayed at. I think when I booked everything on, I guess it was Monday when that incident happened, I think when I booked everything, I was just like, oh my God, I feel so uncomfortable. I need to do whatever it takes to make myself feel comfortable. I need comfort. And my reaction was just to kind of book a place that I knew, that I was familiar with, that I had already been, and something that would make me feel kind of like at home. Not home, but at home. Yeah, these are a lot of auto mechanics here. This is Auto Mechanics Central. Budget brand tires. Nice. One thing that has surprised me about Harare is how expensive it is here. And I will say, past here, I will say that the groceries, they're pretty cheap compared to American standards. They're pretty cheap. And again, I was talking to my mother last night and telling her how expensive it was here. And I started out with what I just said, where the groceries are fairly cheap, but when you go to a restaurant, my breakfast a couple days ago, which will probably be in this video because I'm thinking there's just going to be one video and I already know the title, 72 hours in Zimbabwe. I like it. The breakfast was $17. Now, it was a good breakfast. It was a hearty breakfast. It was a big breakfast. It was a good breakfast. But $17 is a lot of money. I mean, by American standards, that's a normal, like, cheap breakfast. The kind of breakfast that I had the other day in an American city, you would probably expect to pay, I don't know, $20, $22. So $17 by American standards is like cheap. It's like, oh, it's on the cheap side, which is what my mother said. But I'm not thinking by American standards. I'm thinking by third world nation standards. And you know, the biggest frame of reference I have is Bolivia. And if I was to have that same breakfast in Bolivia, it probably would have cost me $3 or $4, maybe $5 or $6, but definitely not $17. The roads here in Harare are kind of like in a constant state of disrepair from what I've been told. There are other priorities, I believe. I think also, like, I should take this as a learning experience where places where I might not feel the safest are not entirely comfortable. Do my walks in the morning. I feel like if anything bad is going to happen, the chances of it happening in the early mornings, like around 8 o'clock, probably between like 7 and 10, I would say the chances are probably slim. That's just a guess. I have absolutely no statistical data to back up that claim, other than common sense. Everybody asks, why didn't you go to Vic Falls? Why didn't you go to Vic Falls? Well, I didn't. I was doing capital cities. I prefer capital cities to tourist destinations because that's really all Vic Falls is a tourist destination. I get it. Largest waterfall in the world, I think. I prefer to see the cities and what life is like for like an everyday man. All right, we're gonna walk towards the Holiday Inn and then see how it is. I'm trying to take cues from locals. If I see locals on their phone, I assume it's okay to record. If I see no on their phone, then I'm not going to record. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. All right, we're coming up on the busier downtown part here. I think the hotel is here. I thought it was, but it might not be. People here were telling me how during COVID, you know, there was mandatory lockdowns for like 2 or 3 weeks. Couldn't leave the house. And so my Airbnb hosts were telling me how they were using drones to deliver berries to their neighbors, which I thought was pretty awesome. That sounds pretty awesome. I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad business idea. Drone berry delivery. All right, I've lost the Holiday Inn. I thought it was up here, but I guess it's not. Oof, something's burning. Something's burning from the gutter. Ooh. You do see a lot of people, a lot of the vendors on the side of the road at night, burning sticks, paper, bushes, whatever, in order to keep warm. Okay, so I actually walked further than I thought by terms of the map. I'm actually a lot closer to the Central Park area than I thought I was. And I actually overshot it a little bit, north-south wise. It's a nice park over here. But yeah, there's a park over here on the right. Looks nice. Actually, it looks very nice. It's about 9 o'clock. I did want to be home by 10-ish. maybe even a little earlier. So if we're gonna get food, we're not getting food, but we're gonna walk through this park. This is a nice park, and I think that might be over here. That building over there might be one of the hotels I was looking at. Not sure. All right, maybe there's some stuff over here. I can get some breakfast. Seems like a nice area. A bunch of flower stalls. People on the phone. The Airbnb host drove me through downtown the other night, and she pointed out a building. It was like, that's the...
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you. She pointed out that she said some building is the Central Bank, and you're not allowed to record there either. And I feel like I'm close to it. So I'm really, really pushing the limit here. Really, really pushing the limit. We'll keep walking down here. Although the park is to the right. All right, we'll go down one more block and then we'll hang a right. Can I see the park? No. I'm pretty sure this is not the park. I'm gonna die. Okay. Now, this little block reminds me of Cape Town quite a bit. Yeah, I think we're up here. We're gonna hang a right, and then should take us to the park. I hope. And if we don't find anything along the way, then I'm just gonna be hungry, I guess. All right. We'll take this right. Shops and markets up here. Doesn't seem to be anything to eat anywhere, which is weird. I just find that weird. This area, I think, is what the area that my Airbnb host told me about. That was a foot traffic only market. Still seems fairly early. She did say that if I came down here, to just be aware. Again, like any other city. All right, I think the park's up here. So I see people, yeah, I see people using their cell phone. So we'll keep going. Push it to the limit, limit. Okay, I see something that says ZB Central. That might be the bank. I'm gonna stop recording. I see a bunch of like FPC Bank. I don't know if that's the bank or not, but I'm not supposed to record it. I don't know. So I see people on their phone. I see people holding their phone. I'm gonna turn it off again. Okay. I think we have made it to Zimbabwe National Park Green. I don't know what it is. Looks like a nice park. There's a big monument up here. We'll check that out. So we didn't find breakfast, because I think when we get to the other side of this park, we're gonna find a taxi, head back home. I do have some last minute packing I need to do. Still wanna take a shower, but I wanted to get out, see a little more of Harare. It would have been easy to just kind of stay shut in my apartment until it was time to leave. But I'm gonna take a picture of myself up here at this monument once I figure out what it is. I don't know what it is. It just says 1914 to 1918. Good morning. Good. It's What's interesting about the monument is that it had a plaque. They took it off. It had some type of symbol. They took it off. So was it, I'm wondering if it was like a monument, something that is not bad, but frowned upon or respected or something. All right, I'm just gonna cut through this park. I have seen this a lot while I've been here in Africa, and that is women carrying things on their head. And it's interesting because like it's just in the city. You know, you always think of something like, I don't know, not in the city. But yeah, you see it. I've seen it quite a few times of women just carrying bags or things on their head, walking perfectly straight. Makes sense. If you've got the balance to do it, sure, do it. My back would probably die. All right, let's catch a taxi. Might have to try and use that app InDrive. I think I have 2 $1 bills on me. That should be enough to get us back home. So like I said, you know, some things like taxis definitely are cheap. Whereas other things like going out to eat definitely are not cheap. I think that's a good exploration. We'll see a little more of Harare. I'm going to put the camera down and try and find a taxi. I'll check back in a few. Okay, well, we are back at our neck of the woods. And I feel a lot better about Harare. It's a city. I like it. And I would like to come back and maybe not act so hastily. It is a bit of a shame that I changed my trip and that I'm going home today instead of on Friday, but it's okay. What's done is done. And in general, this will not be my last trip to Africa by any means whatsoever. So I'm going to go inside, pack up, and get ready to head back to Cape Town. Well, I just wanted to do a quick video here outside of Mugabe International Airport in Zimbabwe. A quick message to Zimbabwe. We had a bit of a rough start, but I think that I'm going to give this country a second chance. And within the next few years, when I come back to Africa, I will be coming back to Harare and seeing more of this country, because I think there's a lot more to see than what I saw. And I probably acted a little too abruptly in cutting my trip short. So thanks for the quick few days that I was here. And I'll see you again soon, Zimbabwe. I will. Now, let's go check in and get ready to go to Cape Town.